Welcome to the Edupedia world. Well, in this tutorial, we start learning about exception handling in Java. This is part 1 of the exception handling, and this tutorial will cover the basics of exception handling in Java. So let's begin. Exception and errors. When a problem encountered an unexpected termination or fault, it is called exception. Okay. When we try and divide by 0, we terminate abnormally. The exception handling gives us another opportunity to recover from abnormality. So it's give us an opportunity that our system doesn't halt abnormally, and we can actually, if something abnormal happens, then we can actually control our system and save it from halting. Okay. Sometimes we may encounter a situation from which we cannot recover, like out of memory error. So these are actually considered as errors. So I hope you got the difference, that errors are something from which we cannot actually encounter and for which we have to take precautions. Actually, I hope so. This difference between exception and error is clear. Well, exception is something that occur unexpectedly and it causes the termination of the program. It occurs due to programming mistakes, whereas errors you cannot recover, and they usually occur due to system mistakes. And errors, for example, are out of memory error, and arithmetic exception is a kind of exception. So this is the difference between exception and error. So this is a hierarchy in Java. You see, like the first class we have is object class. Then throwable class actually extends your object class. Then we have two classes, error and exception. Both of them extends the throwable class. Okay. And the exception class includes some of the classes that is extending error, which will be virtual machine error, linkage error, AWT error, thread death. Okay, so these are kind of errors. Fine. If we talk about exception, then we have AWT exception, IO exception, SQL exception. Okay. Then we also have runtime exception. In runtime exception, we have arithmetic exception, array store exception, class cast exception, illegal argument exception. Fine. So all the classes you are seeing in a yellow color are public superclass with one or more subclass. So they are actually having one or more subclass. Whereas the classes in red, they are not having any subclasses. Fine. Now the hierarchy, throwable classes, superclass of all the exception and errors. Exception has special subclass, the runtime exception, as we have already seen that there is a special subclass, runtime exception, and a user-defined exception should be subclass of exception class. So if you are defining your own exception, then it should actually extend exception class. What are checked and unchecked exception? Well, exception which are checked for during compile time are called as checked exception. For example, SQL exception or any user-defined exception. So checked exception are those exceptions which you have to check. That means for them you have to write some code to check them. That means you have to write some either try catch to actually check them. Otherwise, it will keep on giving you an error at compile time only if you are not checking them, or if you are not writing a code to take them or prevent them. Okay. The exceptions which are not checked for during compile time are unchecked. So unchecked exception are runtime exception, for which the compiler will not force you to write a try catch or handle exception. For example, null pointer exception or any class extending runtime exception. Fine. So all these are actually unchecked exception. All the checked exceptions must be handled in the program. So you must write some code to handle it. It might be a simple try catch, but you should write some code to handle all the checked exception. Fine. Then the exception raised, if not handled, will be handled by Java Virtual Machine. So when we talk about unchecked exception, where we are not actually handling ourselves, it will be handled by Java Virtual Machine. The Java Virtual Machine will print the stack trace of exception. Stack trace means you can say kind of output of exception, indicating the stack of exception and the line where it was caused. So it will actually let you know like from which method the error came and how from which line the method occur, what is the error and how it is traversed. So it will give you a stack trace of all the methods that have gone through the exception and are impacted through the exception. So this is an example. You see we are having a simple class my exception and we are having a main method. Then we are doing file f is equal to new file and we are passing my file into that, and then we are creating file input stream object. So you see this two lines of code we have actually included in the try catch. So there is a try statement and then there is a catch statement. So try clause is actually used to include the code that might give you some exception. So you put that thing in try. And catch is something, if an exception occurs, then you are actually the flow of control or flow of execution will directly go to the catch block. The catch block include a parameter which defines the kind of exception that your code can throw. So over here I have defined file not found exception. So my code can actually throw file not found in this case. So if file not found exception occurs, the control flow of execution will reaches the catch block and will start executing from here. So what it is doing it is doing file f is equal to new available file. So if there is a available file, so we are actually reading that and creating a file input stream for that. Okay. So this is how catch works. If exception occurs, whatever code we have written in catch is executed. So over here we are actually creating a new object, but usually we use catch to print the error and to print out the exception stack trace. Okay. After try and catch, we are having another block which is called the finally block. So finally block is actually used to do something. Let's say in case you are having an exception in try, then it reaches to catch, and then again an exception occur in catch and that is not handled. In that case, the finally block will be executed. Also, if there is no exception, let's say the code has executed the complete try block, then still the finally block will be executed. Let's say if there is an exception and it has reached the catch block and the catch block is executed successfully, but then also the finally block will be executed. So finally block will be executed in each and every case. Okay. And then you can do continue processing something after finally. Okay. So finally block usually contains some of the statement that you want to execute no matter if an exception occurs or not, or if if you are not sure, let's say if there could be exception in catch block also and you want to make sure that you execute something. For example, closing a file. Let's say you have opened a file or you have opened a buffered input stream and you want to close it. Why so? Because you should close it, otherwise you might get in later on problems. So you must close your all the streams and files. So you can do that close part in finally block. Fine. So in this example, we are trying to open a file. If the file do not exist, we can further process the catch block. So the try and the catch block are used to identify the possible exception condition. We try to execute any statement that might throw an exception, and the catch block is used for any exception caused. If the try block does not throw any exception, then the catch block is not executed. The finally block is always executed irrespective of whether exception is thrown or not. Okay, so finally block is something that is always executed. Now using throws clause. So we have already seen try and catch and finally block. Now let's see the throws clause. Well, when I'm saying we have already seen try and catch block, that doesn't mean that your exception handling contains just this much. It is just that we first of all are covering the basics and then we'll go into the detail, or we'll take a deep dive. Okay. So firstly we'll just go through the basics. So now it is saying using throws clause. If you do not want the exception to be handled in the same function, you can use the throws class to handle the exception in the calling function. Okay, so let's say if you do not want to handle the exception, if you do not have anything to write in catch block in that method, and you want to handle it in the calling function, then you can use a throws clause. So this is the example. Over here we are having a public class my exception, and then we are having a main method. Okay, Inside a main method we are doing try, and inside a try we are calling another method which is check ex. Okay, so let's go to the method check ex. You can see we are having public void check ex throws file not found exception method. Okay, then we are having file f is equal to new file, and we are passing some file like my file. Okay, now we are having file input stream fis equals to new file input stream. Now what we are doing is we are actually trying to read the file in that method, and then we are using a throws clause with it. So we are not actually throwing an exception here on using try catch, rather we are using throws so that our exception can be cached wherever this method is getting called. So this method is getting called in the main method. So inside a main method we are having try and catch. So if exception file not found occurs, so whatever we have written in the catch block of the main method will get execute. So this is how throws work. Okay. In this example, the main method calls the checkex method, and the checkex method tries to open a file. Okay, so if the file is not available, then an exception is raised and passed to the main method where it is handled. Now catching multiple exception. So how can we catch multiple exception? If there are more number of exception, then how can we catch them? Well, we see it over here. We are having public class myException. Then we are having a main method which is public static void main. And then we are having a try clause. So in the try clause you see we are having a file and we are trying to open a file. Okay, and then we are trying to open file input stream by passing the try object. Okay, so we see we do have two catch clause over here. One catch clause is having file not found exception. And there is another catch clause which is having IO exception, and finally we have a finally block. So you see we can have multiple catch blocks for a single try statement. The exception handler looks for the compatible match and then for an exact match. Okay. In other words, in this example, if exception is raised, was my IO custom exception a subclass of file not found, then the catch block of file not found exception is matched and executed. Let's say there occurs a file not found exception, then this block will get execute. If there occurs a IO exception, then this block will get execute, the below catch block. And let's say if there is some other exception which is a subclass of file not found exception. So if it's a subclass of file not found exception, then this class will execute. So let's say my code could throw some more number of exceptions. Let's say there are not just two lines. Let's say I'm writing some big code and it can actually even throw a arithmetic exception. It can even throw a file not found exception. It can even throw a SQL exception. So instead of writing multiple 7 to 8 kind of exception and writing you can say a catch block for each one of them, we can also do that. We can write simply a catch block, and instead of including a subclass, we can simply include exception class. So instead of IO exception, we can also include exception EX. So it will handle each and every kind of exception because exception is a superclass of each and every exception. Fine. But generally we should not do that, because if we know that our code can throw this particular type of exception, so we should include only that particular kind of exception. But if you are still don't want to take the chances and want to do exception handling for each and every kind of exception your code will throw, then you can also include an exception block. But always remember that the final, that is the catch exception block that you will write, where you are including the exception class, you should always write that below. That means that should be the last catch block. Why so? Because if you do write it above, then let's say if I have written file not found, I have included another catch block over here which I am catching an exception, which is just a general exception. Then let's say my file not found exception occur. Then the general block, that is the general exception block that I have created, will catch my exception, and my exception will not go to file not found exception. Whereas what I wanted is, in case if there is file not found exception, then these two lines should be executed. But if there is general exception, then I'm simply printing the stack trace. So if I write a general exception catch block over here, so my each and every exception will go through that only. So, it actually starts reading from above and go to below. So if it founds its exception block or a superclass above, it will not go through the below code. It will throw there as well. So that's why we should write the general exception block always as a last catch block. Okay. If compatible match is found before an exact match, then compatible match is always preferred. We need to pay special attention on the ordering of exception in catch block as it can lead to mismatching of exception and unreachable code. Fine, we need to arrange the exception from specific to general. So first we put all the specific exceptions and at the end put the general exception class. So this is what we should pay attention at while writing the catch blocks. Fine. Yes guys, this was about the basic exception handling. But there is more to exception handling and we will dive it into the part 2 of our tutorial. But in this tutorial we have already seen what is try, what is catch, what is finally block, how to include each three of them, and we have seen what is throws close. Then we have also seen how to include multiple catch in your code. Okay. So okay guys, thank you very much. Let's meet in the part 2 of exception handling.